and welcome to All Creator Tools. I am your host Colsey, and today we're going to be talking about Meld. Now, Meld Studio is a particularly interesting piece of software. It is your streaming software. It is your OBS equivalent. It is a alternative to that if you want to think of it like that. Now, I have Meld loaded up here on my laptop so I can go through and show you guys a little bit and give you a little crash course in what Meld can do, because it's very interesting. It's constantly being developed. Very simple to use streaming software. So if you're looking to get into streaming, you're looking at wanting to create some content, whether that be streaming or videos, then Meld Studio might be a great alternative and a great thing to get in on right now. Here we are in Meld. I have my webcam in the corner, which is a different camera that I've plugged in up here. As you can see, if you've ever used OBS before, it's a very similar look, right? It's a very similar layout. You've got your layers over here. You've got scenes down here. You've got an audio mixer down here for all your different audio tracks. It's very similar in its layout to OBS. Now, when you actually start Meld Studio for the first time, it does give you a few like tutorial tips, ask you what kind of content you're going to be making. Are you making only horizontal videos, or are you doing vertical as well? Because you can do both of those. So we'll be sure to take a little look at that in the future. Again, if you've used OBS, you'll understand a lot of this. It's very similar. So layers, again, this is the layer I have used here. I have the OBSBOT camera, which we also took a look at. So if you want to check that video out, go and check it out. Link will be in the description. I have that already set here on a camera, but if we wanted to add a different layer, we've got these options. So we've got video device, which is what the camera is, display capture, which will capture the display. So if we click display capture, you'll see that it pops up a little window like this. Now it does this with every source that you add. So you go down and you select what you want to record. So if I want to record the screen, it's going to then pop the screen in and we can move it about, align it to where we want. I do really like these little pink, like the little pink crosses and lines that it comes up with, so it helps you really like lay things out better. So I can see that if I go like here, move up a bit, that is dead central to the screen. So that's really cool. I really like that. We'll turn it off for now, but let's take a look at some of the other layers that we have available. So media source, so that's a video. If you wanted to play a video, for example, or maybe some audio can go through that as well. Image, makes sense. Browser. Now, browser sources are what you tend to use if you want to do like on-screen alerts on your stream and stuff like that. It will give you a link on whatever platform you're using. It'll give you a link which you can put into there, and it will enable you to bring that then up on your screen, on your stream. Duplicator. So a duplicator will just duplicate a source. So again, I can go to scene, and I have again duplicated myself, and now I have 3 of me on the screen, which is terrifying and way more means than you want to see. But there we go, duplicator again. If you want to use that for a particular reason, it's there, but it duplicates that whole scene. Text, very simple, text. You'll see over here on the right-hand side is where we can actually like change all the settings for all these things. And that's a really cool thing about Meld. It has a lot of like built-in settings, built-in filters, built-in things you can mess around with, which is super cool. Because in OBS, those things are available. Sometimes they are a bit complicated to set up or involve plugins and stuff like that. Right, what else have we got? We've got rectangle, which is, as you can see, a rectangle, and you'll see over here that we have a bunch of like presets. Now these are like the effects and the filters I was talking about earlier. Now we can obviously mess around with this and change its size and stuff like that. I guess if we unlock it, we can probably like drag it to be a completely different kind of shape. We can see again the pink lines turned up, which is helping us to sort of align things nicely. Again, a cool thing that Meld does is it's got these little circles, which means you can adjust the radius. Now we don't just have to do that for like the rectangle. We can actually do that with the webcam, which I think is super cool. So if I go over here and click on the webcam, again, these little dots in the corners, you can just drag them in. And you can have like a radius around you, so you don't have to have just a square. It's that simple. I don't know how to do that in OBS, but in Meld, you just pick it up. It's there. It's right there. A lot of stuff you can do there. Again, pretty simple in what it has. The layers, they make sense. A lot of them just very clear and they make sense. Again, scenes is your scenes. So again, if you want to change scene, you'll have this. It has an automatic like little fade effect to go from scene to scene, which is really cool. That's your basics. Now, again, you want to lay out this how you want it, where you want your stuff, you want your gameplay, you want your camera, all that stuff. You want to lay out your different scenes. So let's say on your second scene, you just want it to be an entire face cam stream. So we just put the camera and we go boom. We just go full face cam on the scene. That's how we do it. And then if we wanted to change scenes, we go over here and we can change the scene. And look at that transition. Such a nice little transition. That's really cool. And that's automatic. Haven't messed around with that. That is just how it is as standard. Let's just have a little play around with some of these. So you can see that these effects are here, these presets and these effects. So you can import and export effects. So if I want to import an effect, if I've saved one, you know, if I've decided I've made like a really good group of effects here that I like and stuff, you can then save that and then bring that in. So 3D immediately does like a 3D effect. So if you were going to like position your camera so it was on like a monitor, for example, like in the scene, this would be a good way to do that. And again, you've got all this stuff you can alter here. You can alter the radius, all that. You can individual corner radius. So I can say, you know what, actually, I want one of these corners to not be like that. If I turn off this preset here, you can see that the top right corner is curved. So again, a little bit more you can mess around with, be creative with. But we've got all this stuff. We've got black and white, we've got colored, we've got terrifying inverted, hologram. That I really like this one. This one's really cool. I like this as an effect. It's super sick. But there's a whole bunch of stuff down here. Thermal, we can go red moon. Again, that's amazing for a spooky horror game. Fisheye, we really want to fisheye my face. There's fisheye. Hello, got that fisheye face. TV screen, a little bit blurry on that one, but there we go. And if you want to edit these, you want to edit like the blur, you can do this, so I can have it less blurry. There's a lot you can play around with here, right? Once you've added a preset, you get to then alter and change the effects. Or if you want to generate sort of your own effect yourself, you can just add things. You can add all this different stuff, gradients, glows, transforms. So say I like the TV one, but I want to glow. I want to glow to it, you know? Then I can go in here and I can change the glow, and I can say I want the glow to be flipping red. I want the opacity to be that. Outer glow, it can be a center glow, which has just covered me in red. Maybe if I move this up to the top, there we go. Now it's in different order and I can do the size of it better. Now the glow is an inner glow. Outer glow, there we go. We've got a little bit of glow around me. Again, just a lot of stuff you can play around with, you can mess around with, you can be creative with, which is really awesome. So let's take a look at some of the settings we can do here, because that, again, is an important part. If you're going to, you know, after once you've set all this up, you're going to want to stream it. If we go over to preferences, now you'll see here, right at the top, we have main canvas, which is for creators focused on single orientation content. And we have a multi-canvas, which is for both horizontal and vertical content at the same time. Now, this is getting a lot more common with TikTok, with YouTube short streaming. It's something you might want to look into. We've got our canvas size here, which we can set. We've got all these different settings here: frame rate, video bit rate, quality, audio bit rate, stuff like that. We've got your output for your recording and your clipping, because obviously we can do clips. We've got hotkeys, which we can start streaming, stop streaming, add an audio track, clip, media playback, toggle, all that stuff, add a new scene. Transition, here's your transition setting. So it does move automatically, but we can change it to say morph. We can go do a really strong morph effect. So now if I change scenes, didn't really have to add my own sound effect, but it felt like I had to. Again, automatically built in. That is not something that is super easy to do with OBS, at least not like a morph, like that kind of effect. And it's very easy to use. Smart guides, that is our snapping lines, which I really liked. Virtual camera, which is an option in OBS itself, is a way of using basically whatever you set up on screen as a camera. So say you wanted to set this up and then send this on a zoom, then you want to set this up as a virtual camera so that your entire screen here, whatever you set up here on this thing, will be then counted as a camera, and you can send it through a call like that, a video call kind of thing. Back to the preferences. So we've got audio here, which again we can set our output, which is kind of standard. Advanced, to do with WebSockets. Now we're not going to touch on that, but I have touched on that briefly in the past, to do with other tools that we've used that have used that WebSocket service stuff, and plugins. If you do add any plugins, it tells you there where they go. So let's take a little look quickly at the multi-canvas to see what that looks like. So you'll see here, we've got actually a little tutorial. Welcome to your vertical canvas. Now you have both main and vertical. Set it up once, use it everywhere. So what we can do is we can go gaming. So let's say we're doing gaming and we'll whack our camera on, and then let's just say that the display that we're using here, this is what we want. Now we have both a vertical and a horizontal stream, but two different versions of basically the same stream. We're going to be streaming the same content, but they're going to go to different places. So in order to do that, we want to go over here to outputs, and we can go, we want to output to YouTube, and then it gives us all of our information here. And it asks you also what canvas you want to do, which is very important because again, if we want to do our main canvas to YouTube, we want to do that. We can also add another output. So let's add a second output and we want to do our vertical canvas, let's say. Now, theoretically, this has now added both these YouTubes as options. So this is telling me that we're going to stream our main canvas over to YouTube, and we're also going to stream our vertical camera over to YouTube Shorts. Now, say you were doing, you know, say instead of like YouTube for your main stream, you're going to do Twitch. So this is where you would do that, and you'd set up your Twitch and you'd log in, and now it's going to do the vertical stream to YouTube, horizontal over to Twitch. Again, super easy and very simple to set up, and just works. That's what's super cool about it. Obviously up here we have our go live button, our record and our clip button, which clips 90 seconds as standard, which is really cool. We've got chat here, which we can connect. Obviously I'm not connected at the minute, so you can't see any of that. And then these are all our settings over here for the inspector. So we can have, you know, we can have our Twitch and our YouTube going out. We can decide to turn one off, depending on how things are going. You know, if for some reason your internet's struggling a bit to do both, you might want to just switch off the vertical for the time being. Now, the only other thing to touch on is something that I'm not using right now because I am recording via my standard normal computer setup. So I'm using my mic, which isn't actually plugged into the laptop. But down here we have the audio track mixer. So we want to add another track, say, and we want this track to be, select the device. We'll say it's just, you know, an output device. We'll go, whatever comes out the speakers we want it to do. Okay, so there we go. We have our mic on this one, which default input is the microphone from the camera, which we're not actually using for microphone at the minute, but there we go. So this is where you would lay them all out. This is where you'd lay all your different sources, all your different inputs, microphones, game audio, chat, Spotify, whatever you're doing. These are where all your audio tracks go. And you can, again, balance these out, turn these up and down with these little sliders we have here. You can monitor the audio via that, mute. And we also have a few different effects we can do on here. We can do gain, we can do stereo panner, and we can do magic mic. Now, gain is just increasing the volume. Stereo panner is moving left to right with the audio. Not really something I would mess with. Magic mic, though, is something that might be very useful, especially because it gets hotter in these summer months. Magic mic is effectively a noise removal. So if we go on magic mic, then we go on the settings, we can change the level that it is going to remove background noise, fan noise, things like that. So again, very useful to have just built in. OBS does have its own version, which is also very good, but it's great that this new platform also has seen that, has thought of that, and has enabled that very simply in a really simple way. And if we ever want to get rid of those, we can just go and we can delete it, or you can bypass it. So that's pretty much a very simple overlook there of Meld Studio. Now, like I said, Meld Studio is currently always being developed. They have many updates and more things are coming. It's very exciting. I think it can be genuinely a really great piece of software. It relies a lot on your creativity. The same with OBS does. Like, to get the best out of it, you really have to put your time in to really work with what you're able to do and what the options you have are. But Meld Studio is just super simple to use. If you want to check it out, we'll leave a link in the description. But I hope this video has been useful to you. I hope you guys have learned a little bit about Meld Studio, and if you're interested, you're looking to go and have a go with it. I really think that's the best idea, is to really just to go and grab it for yourself and have a go and play around with it and get used to it. It's very simple to set up. I really like it. It's got a lot of really awesome features. Like I said, a lot more to come in future. So if you have liked this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help us out massively over here at All Creator Tools. So I really appreciate that. If you want to get even more tips and tricks and tool recommendations, then please do go and sign up to our newsletter. You can do that via the link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and remember to always have fun creating.